Coach Ben Johnson begins his third year at Minnesota after the Golden Gophers picked up a win over Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament this past season. It's a chronic rebuild in Minnesota for the Golden Gophers. So, Coach Johnson, where do you concentrate most in building the Gophers into a more competitive Big Ten challenger after the first two seasons?
Yeah, I think, this has been a steady climb since day one. And we knew that. We knew that to build it the way that we wanted to sustain it and to play at a standard that's really high and competitive, that there were going to be some learning phases and some growing pains. And so now coming into year three, it's the first time that we've, had 12 fully scholarship guys that are healthy, ready to roll. We've got really good depth, the most depth that I've had. We've got older experience, and we've got younger guys that have played. And I think that was big. I think anytime, you take over a program, at some point you're going to have to hit the reset. And for roster balance, if nothing else, take freshmen and go young. And so my thought was, I'd rather do that sooner than later. And so last year, and some of it was due to injury, we did end up playing 4 younger guys, 4 true freshmen. And the growth and the learning curve that they were able to go through and to build on will only help this program. And so those guys are now coming into their sophomore year, but they have experience. They're upperclassmen. And so we're at a really good stage. I like where we're at, especially roster-wise, ability-wise, talent-wise, experience. And now we're looking to really take that next step.
As you have your coaching philosophy in place, being an assistant coach for several years at several different places, how do you stylize a squad to be able to play through tough challenges inside of a game?
I think a lot of that starts with recruiting. I think you have to be able to recruit kids that are competitive by nature. You have to be able to recruit kids and people that have a certain toughness to them. Obviously that helps if you can get people from a winning program or a program that's used to success or that's been demanding. I think all that stuff plays into, what we get as coaches when they arrive on our campus. It's really hard for people to flip the switch and change from who they really were, especially 18 years up to this point. And so we really make an emphasis in recruiting to try to find kids that we feel like are mentally tough, that have persevered, that have maybe gone through something in their life and have found a way to become successful.
Dawson Garcia is your leading returning scorer for the 23-24 season. With his experience at Marquette, North Carolina, and now Minnesota, how will he emerge as a key leader for you, beside of his obvious potential, as a player?
I think what you just hit on, he's been at multiple spots, but this is the first time where he's had back-to-back years of playing under the same coach. And I think that's huge. He knows our system. He knows what's expected of him. There's familiarity, there's continuity, not only with myself and staff, but with his teammates. And I think you build confidence from that. It's like any quarterback that has offensive coordinators. You've gone through 3 of them in 3 different years. They're all telling you 3 different things, 3 different ways to go about it. And so to have that consistency for him, I think will be really beneficial. He's playing with a ton of confidence, had a great offseason in the weight room and on the court. And I think for him, now it's about being consistent every single day. And I think his numbers and production will show that.
Yeah, that type of consistency, like you say, every single day, how tough is that to kind of breed into a player and then see him go up the stair steps, so to speak?
I think consistency is everything, especially as you climb the ladder, whether that's at our place, whether that's in our league, whether that's beyond here. I think the separator is the players that can be consistent every single day. And that's the challenge. And he knows that. We've had great talks about it. He's looking forward to that challenge. I think that's what upperclassmen bring to the table is being able to be that everyday guy, whether that's in practice, in workouts, in the weight room, all of that translates and carries over to the games and those quality habits that make people consistent.
Farrell Payne became a key contributor last season. I was wondering what are ways he has improved his game since he was a top 100 player as a high school baller, according to ESPN.com.
Yeah, Pharrell had a great first year. To log the minutes that he did in our league against some of the bigs that we faced every single game in conference play, built him and built resiliency, and also gave him confidence to know that he's good enough to be a dominant force in our league. And so, he's able to, just like Dawson, make that transition from being a player to being a consistent good player. And night in, night out, that's scoring, that's defense, that's rebounding. And now, to be able to add confidence at the free throw line, I think is huge. And he's worked his butt off this summer and on making that, a really bonus to his game, is getting to the free throw line and then converting. And then I think being able to shoot the ball and extend his range to about, 10 to 12 feet and feeling comfortable playing on the perimeter and making that face-up jump shot.
Coach, we were talking about developing consistency, and last season you played 4 freshmen regularly. So what are key ways of moving them forward now as players, assuming the consistency is there with every practice, every game that you have?
I think the best part is to your point, they got experience throughout the entire year. So some guys started, some guys didn't. Some guys played at the end of late games, some guys didn't. Those guys were consistently in the mix of all of that. They were one of the core group, and I think that was intentional. I'm one of those 4 guys to get all of that experience, to be under the lights, to kind of be thrown to the fire. I think experience is the best teacher. And so now nothing really phases them. And now the next step is the production piece. It's the competitive piece. But it adds depth to our team, because now you have 4 guys that, again, are sophomores, but experience and playing wise are really upperclassmen. And so that just adds not only to themselves and hopefully confidence that they know exactly what's ahead of them this year. They know how hard they have to work. They know the challenges that lie ahead in every single game. But that experience and that depth just makes our team stronger.
Talk a little bit about what made Joshua Ola Joseph able to start 24 of 31 games, and he was a freshman last year. Did he come in with a higher level maybe of consistency that he built on, for example?
The funny story about Josh is he's from Minnesota.
Yep.
And he chose his last year to go play at Compass Prep in Arizona. And they have a phenomenal team. They were loaded.
Yeah.
Josh did not start a game his senior year in high school. And not only that, Josh probably didn't play over 15 minutes in any of those games. And part of that was because they had a really good team. And so you look at a kid that didn't play over 15 minutes and didn't start a game his senior year in high school, to now coming and joining a Big Ten team and starting 24 and playing at minimum, 22 to 24 minutes a game, sometimes upwards around to 30. He was thrown to the fire. And I think the competitive spirit of Josh is what got him through. Josh wanted that. That's the reason why he came here. He wanted the opportunity to compete, to play right away as a true freshman. And again, some of it was due to injury, but some of it was due to Josh earning it. And again, I think there's a lot of confidence that you can be built from that. But his competitive nature, his winning spirit, that put him in position for me to play him those minutes. And so we're looking to just build on that and make Josh the ultimate warrior, the ultimate competitor. And I think we're able to do that because we're able to lean back and fall back on the experience that he gained from last season.
Now, Cameron Christie comes in at shooting guard. He was a 4-star performer in high school. Talk about his shooting prowess and in other ways he may be able to influence you here right away.
Yeah, Cam was a really good get for us. Cam has a great pedigree. Mom played in the Big Ten. Brother obviously played at Michigan State, now with the Lakers. So he understands what it takes to be successful. Cam is ultra talented, dribble, pass, and shoot. came from a really good high school and AAU program where they taught him how to play. So he has a really good understanding of winning basketball and what that looks like. And he'll be a huge piece. I think, a big part of it is his versatility, being able to play on the ball and off the ball, being able to make decisions. But you can never, have enough guys that can shoot it. And he has a knack from shooting it in the mid-range. He's got a knack from shooting it from three. I think more guys that you can put on the floor that have a great feel and IQ, but an ability to shoot the basketball and put the ball in the hole. Obviously, the better your offense and the better your team's going to be.
When you have a player with multiple facets and being able to shoot in multiple places, how deep does that then make your playbook for that player?
Oh, it opens it up entirely.
Yeah.
I think we love to recruit versatility. I don't want to recruit kind of one-trick ponies, because then it kind of puts you in that box and it limits, where we can put you on the floor. It maybe limits when you can play in games. But when you have that versatility, there's a lot of things that we can tweak offensively, and you can open that playbook. And I think I will also say, you add IQ and feel to that. Now you can really open the playbook, because now you got players that if you make a small tweak or you add a counter to a play that you might really like, well, now all of a sudden that play might have 6 or 7 variations off of it, because guys can retain and they can think. And so, again, it goes back to recruiting. You want to recruit guys that are thinkers, that have really good feel, and that have that versatility. And it just makes for a much more explosive team.
As a coach, you've had solid stops across the boards as an assistant. You were at Minnesota, which is your alma mater, from Richard Pitino's staff in 2013 through 2018. How was he and Travis Steele, now at Miami of Ohio, influential in your coaching career, because you worked with Travis at Xavier?
Yeah, they were really influential. I've been fortunate throughout my entire run, whether it was, Ben Jacobson in Northern Iowa, Tom Schubert, who gave me my first job, Brian Gregory, Tim Miles. I gained a lot of knowledge. And the thing that I took is how to play a little bit different, especially defensively. And, whether it's a press, whether it's a zone, whether it's a matchup zone, I was able to learn that system in 5 years that I spent with him. And I use that to this day. It was something that I hadn't, come up playing or utilizing or knowing. And so to be able to steal that and that brand of basketball and put that in my back pocket and have that, it's helped make our program successful. And it's something, again, that we will use consistently on a year-to-year basis, kind of that curveball. And then from Trav at Xavier, just the expectation of winning. Obviously, Xavier's a storied program. Sure. And just kind of having that expectation and the day-to-day process and what goes into winning, whether that's practice planning, player development, those are traits that we want our Minnesota program to have. Being able to be versatile on both sides of the ball, and then being able to have that standard of excellence and carry ourselves the right way, and having that expectation of winning.
Last thing, Coach, from an analytical standpoint, how important do you feel it is to track how your players perform every 100 possessions?
I think analytics are good because it can kind of tell a story. I think each coach picks and chooses what numbers they want to use and what numbers they want to give to their players versus what numbers they want to keep as a staff for our information. But I think, numbers do tell a story, and they can tell trends. And again, maybe that translates to when you play guys with rotations, what groups of guys play together, who ends games well. And so I use numbers because I think over time they tell a story. And again, not that you base every decision off those numbers, but allows you to gather the information. So, when you are looking at, again, lineups or matchups or player development even, or how to utilize a guy as the year goes on, it kind of gives you a good balance of what you should be thinking about as a head coach when you make decisions. And I think now analytics has played a role in our game, and it seems like every year we all add to that. And so I think coaches would be foolish not to at least look at numbers and again process it, and then you can make a decision whether you choose to use them or not.
Coach Ben Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. We're looking forward to watching the team play this year, Coach, and watching you guys take another step there in the Big Ten and nationally.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on again.